What's up, Meet Edgar community? Excited today to be talking to you about one of my favorite ways to consume social media, Instagram stories. So first and foremost, before we get started here today, there is an awesome template that you can download. It's in the description here in the comments section here. Go ahead and snag this. It's 13 customizable Instagram story templates that you can use in order to spark some ideas on the content you can create in your Instagram stories. So the link to download that is in the description. So go ahead and grab that if you need ideas. And we're going to jump on into some more ideas on what you can post to Instagram, because it is one of truly the best features, I think, on social media. Number one, Instagram stories are used by over 500 million Instagram users daily. So there's a lot of space out there that you have in order to connect with your ideal followers. It's also something that fits into people's day, and they don't have to go and actually be taken away from what they're doing within the app. And that's one of the reasons it's such an addictive feature on social media, because when you click a story, it just continuously goes to the next story. So you don't have to take any other cognitive load of deciding if you're going to keep scrolling or not. It just goes there through for you. And this is something that in marketing is golden, because people often don't skip these stories. And I want to make sure that you're realizing this is awesome for marketers of products or services, because the more that your content can actually blend in with other friends and family's content and does not look super overproduced, the more likely it is someone's going to watch your story all the way through. So you don't have to have something beautifully curated. You can just have pictures on there that just are taken with a simple phone. You can have content that you create in a program like Canva if you're doing quotes and stuff like that, and know that it's going to spark a really good connection with your followers. So before we get started, we always like to lay the framework here at Edgar on what you want to be known for. It should be driving your content strategy. So what topics do you really want to be known for in your field? This is the first thing to get clear on. This is going to provide you with an area of expertise. And that is truly what differentiates brands who succeed and brands that don't on social media, is that they know their area of expertise. They know the topics they want to be known for as an authority maker on, and they really stick with these. They don't go wide with their content. They go deep, and they are there to serve one specific audience persona. And that is what, again, creates a strong community. So what do you want this one specific audience persona to think and to feel and to learn when they're engaging with your Instagram stories? Get that set first. And I know that I promise I'm going to give you real ideas, but don't skip this step, because having that why of what you want to be known for as an expert and what you want your ideal audience persona to feel and think and learn is truly going to guide your strategy better than any of these ideas that I can give you. So sit down, journal it out if you haven't done that before, so you can have a good idea of who you're creating this content for, because content for content's sake is no fun. Content in order to serve a specific audience, now that, my friend, I think is quite fun. So your goals for content marketing should really be broken down into 4 different categories. What we like to go is the 3 E's and 1 I is kind of how I remember them there. And what we like to go into here is the educational side of content. So you want to share things, again, that expresses why you're authority in your field, what your expertise and your knowledge is. This doesn't have to be directly related to your product or service all the time. Ask friends and family what you're really good at explaining. Ask them what they'd like to learn more from you. This can guide your content strategy. You then want to move on to the second E, which is entertaining. So entertaining should be you sharing content that your audience will enjoy. They're on social media to be entertained. So don't forget that this is an important part of your strategy, even if it's not directly related to your sales. It's going to build goodwill, and it's going to make you retain your followers more, because it's not about always gaining new followers. It's about retaining the ones you have so you can nurture that relationship. It's going to help you really help you demonstrate that you really understand who your followers are, who that audience persona you're speaking to is. So that's why that first step is so important, of identifying your audience persona. So you're just going to be able to entertain them in a way that you know day in and day out what's going to interest them. So demonstrate you understand who they are and resonate with their story by entertaining them with some content. The third E is going to be to engage. Social media is all about interactions. You should be asking questions. You should be having conversations. You should be encouraging your audience to share their thoughts as well. This is where that truly, again, can be separated between brands who are just using social media to talk at people and to broadcast their message versus the content that you are actually creating that can engage your audience into wanting to learn more, into having a conversation. Because if you're not having them speak back, how do you get to know them a little bit better? How do you get to know what questions they have that you might be able to provide value with? So make sure you're producing engagement-oriented questions and engagement-oriented posts, especially in your Instagram stories. And we'll go into that a little bit more when we look at the poll feature. The last category that you really want to think of in your Instagram stories is to inspire people. Make sure that they are trying harder, thinking better and bigger, and taking action on their goals. And again, if you've done that first part of actually developing an audience persona of who you're speaking to, this part is going to be easy because you know what their goals are, you know their outcomes of what they're trying to accomplish in life, and you can be the brand that supports them and gets them to that goal, gaining the trust of your followers to know that everything you produce is going to lead towards the life they want to live, either bringing them more joy or saving them time or saving them money. We are all in the business of selling happiness when it comes down to it, right? When we purchase a product or a service in our life, it's typically in order to make ourselves happier in one of those ways. So think about how you can position your product or service to make someone stay a little bit better and to inspire that happiness within them. All right, so Instagram stories are amazing for what I like to call episodic content. Episodic content is stuff that you're going to loop people in, and you're going to go ahead and remind them that every single day you're going to show up with something that builds on the previous day's content. This is great for stories because it almost trains your followers. I know that's a weird word to use, so don't take it in the wrong way, but it almost trains your followers to show up and engage and consume your Instagram stories more so than if you just do kind of one-offs. If you leave from one day to the next and let them know tomorrow I'm going to be back to chat about XYZ, this is going to really make sure people are looking for your little bubble up in their Instagram stories. So think about things that you can do. You know, brands that do this really well is like Rachel Hollis and Dave Hollis are two kind of motivational speakers, and they do a daily morning show every single day on Instagram, and they have thousands of people tune in. The way they built that community is by consistently showing up and letting people know, hey, this is an episodic piece of content. Every day, same time, same place, we're going to be here. So come back and view it. So this is a really great thing that you could consider bringing in. And again, it does not have to be highly produced, and it does not have to be amazing. It can be something as simple as you inviting your followers in to have coffee with you in the morning, and they can come and you'll just be sitting there making your coffee, and you can have them ask questions to you within Instagram stories, especially if you're doing this in a video and you're going live on Instagram stories. Your followers can ask questions and comment there. So how fun would it be to create an episodic content where every day you're going live with your coffee and your followers can ask you questions? Again, doesn't have to be highly produced, because that is not the content that resonates. The content of what's fitting in with your followers' day, which is oftentimes they'll be having coffee too, that's what resonates and makes them understand that you get their day, you get what they're going through. So think about episodic content. It doesn't have to be a morning show. I know both of those examples were. It could be a once a weekly thing. But again, this just entices your followers to make sure they're looking and consuming your Instagram stories. Other things you can do in your stories is make sure you are promoting blog posts, promoting podcasts, promoting even a new post that you do in your feed. Because not everyone goes to Instagram Instagram feeds as much as they go to stories now. It's true. People will go onto the app just to consume the story, when oftentimes a lot of our heart and our soul goes into the content we're producing on our feed. So you want to be able to go in there and actually create an Instagram story leading to the Instagram post in your feed, letting people know you have that there, giving them a little teaser and producing some curiosity about why they should be directed to that post on your feed and consume the content. So if you have a cool post that you released, consider going up to your stories and letting people know it's there and why they should consume it. If you release a new blog post to your site and you put the link in your bio, you can make a story that says, you know, hey, we've got a new blog post up. Here are the 3 main points I'm discussing. The link is in my bio. That way, you're again utilizing Instagram in order to drive traffic to a site that you own. And this is one of the main things that me, Edgar, is really passionate about getting out there, is that your content on social media should always lead back to a space online that you own, like a website, a podcast, a blog, whatever it is, because you don't own your followers until they directly know where to reach you online and hand over that email address and become a part of your community in a space that you've created. So if you are producing blog posts or video content or podcasts, please go ahead and make sure everyone that you put out there shows up in your Instagram stories so that you can get that traffic to your site. You can also do things like get on there and actually create like an Instagram TV, IGTV profile for your company. This is really cool because you can repurpose things like this live video. We're actually going to repurpose and put it up on our Instagram stories on IGTV. Once we put it on our IGTV channel, we can share little snippets of that to our Instagram stories, and we can share a 1-minute clip of that to our Instagram feed. This is a great way to cross promote and use all of the features within Instagram. And Instagram's algorithm loves to see this. They love to see you kind of cross promote and get all of these different features they've built into use. So take that to your advantage. Again, if you're not repurposing content in general at all anymore, please get on the recycling and repurposing content program in 2020, or else you are going to burn out. And nobody benefits, especially not your followers, if you are burnt out. So make sure if you have longer YouTube videos that you put them on Instagram TV and share that to your story or to your feed to get a little more mileage out of them. You can also do things like just hop into iMovie on your computer and break up little 15-second bits of a maybe webinar that you did and repurpose that in your Instagram stories. It is a great way to show your face. It is a great way to show your expertise without having to do the extra work. So what content do you already have that you could repurpose and put up into your Instagram stories where people can consume it? Also, when I was talking about how the Instagram algorithm loves when you utilize all of their different features, one of the features they really love you to use is things like stickers and polls within Instagram stories. Anything that they build that's kind of specific for their network, they have a really big way of wanting you to use it. So they're going to give you more love if you use their features. So when you hop into your Instagram stories, use things like the fun stickers there to add a little bit of a fun vibe to make sure people understand the tone you're trying to get across in the text you're writing. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to know tone. I know I'm someone who gets a little bit scared when I get a text message that just says okay, but if you get that okay with an emoji on it, it's much more likely I'll know the person's in a good mood. Same with your text on social media. So utilize the stickers feature in your Instagram stories to make sure the tone of your post is coming across okay and to get the love from the algorithm. Now, the poll feature in Instagram. So if you go into your Instagram stories and you create a poll, this is going to be amazing research area for you, because anything that your followers type into that poll will actually go to your DMs on Instagram. So if you create a question on Instagram using their little type form and ask people about what they want to learn from you next, or ask people about a certain struggle they're going through with life right now, those will actually be sent to your DMs. This not only allows you to create a one-on-one relationship with one of your followers, which I know doing things that do not scale is not something that a lot of people like to do, but it is a differentiator. So check your DMs often and make sure you're getting back to people, because relationship building is all about those one-on-one connections. But make sure you're using those, because when they go there, you can then see what questions your followers have for you. This can guide your content strategy. So often on social media, we think about just getting our content out there, and we forget about the huge power these networks have in order to bring us information. So they can bring us information by telling us the questions our followers have, the struggles they're going through right now, so we can create content to support them in this. So it's a beautiful ecosystem if you're using it properly. And Instagram Stories is one of the best ways in order to use that poll feature and get those DMs and get that great research going. Then once you have a piece of content like a lead magnet or something that can support a question one of your followers have, you just need to hop into your DMs, send it back to them, and what a beautiful value you've just created for someone, and what a great bond of trusting relationship you've just established there with that one follower, who might then go and share that resource out to their own networks, to other people who might be struggling with the same thing they were. It is all about making sure you are approaching this with that service-oriented mindset. All right. So using the poll feature, definitely do that. You don't have to ask open-ended questions always. You can ask really simple yes/no questions like, would you guys like me to produce a podcast on XYZ topic? Yes, no. Great way to get a little more information in there. And people love to collaborate on Instagram. They love to help build the communities that they're in. So if they're following you, they want to be a part of a community. And that community kind of aspect comes when they're actually speaking back. So give people the opportunity to speak back to you and give you that information. You can also do really cool things on Instagram stories, like hosting an Ask Me Anything live or hosting like a behind the scenes tour of your workspace. I love to mention live stories on Instagram because they only live there for 24 hours. So you don't have to worry about it messing up your feed in any way. And I love the idea of Ask Me Anything because this can combine the poll feature of saying, hey, we're doing an Ask Me Anything on every Friday. It'll combine that episodic content that we were speaking to at the beginning. And it'll let people know we're open to your questions. They can submit their questions right on the poll feature. You'll go live on Friday morning and answer those questions. And it's a beautiful way that you can use all these features to work for you. I also love to make sure that you're showing behind the scenes stuff because that's one of the reasons people follow you on social media, right? Because they want to get something that they can't get anywhere else. They can find out about you online on your webpage. They can go to your about page and read your bio. They can go to your website and learn your features. So if that's the only thing that you're sharing online, people aren't getting anything special by following you on Facebook or by following you on Instagram. You need to give them a little bit more and say, this content is exclusively for Instagram. And that behind the scenes stories content can be really fun. So show people what you're working on, show people your workspace, let people in on your work processes, let people in on your family life if that's something you are comfortable doing. And that is the kind of goes into this idea that you all know there are many, many tabloids out there who go ahead and profile celebrities' personal lives. Why? Because as humans, we want that behind the curtain look into their real lives. We want to see the things that resonate with us. And they have all of these different features that are like, look, they're just like us. They walk their dog just like us. People love that. They want to know that others are going through the same thing as them. So let people in on the areas of your life that they'll resonate with. Of course, there's boundaries of what you're going to share and what you're not going to share, but truly open yourself up and you'll find that followers are much more trusting of you because they see you as a real person, but B, you can grow your audience because they're realizing by following you, they get something special that they're not getting anywhere else and they can't just Google this. All right, you can also do things on Instagram stories like upcycle parts of your newsletter. So I hope all of you out there are building your or building your email list during this time and using this time to gain and grow your audience. Once you're taking all of this time to write your emails and to write your newsletters out to people, there's a lot of gold nuggets in there that people who haven't handed over their email address to you yet could get a lot of use from. So make sure you're giving people who might not have been convinced yet to hand over their email address a little golden nugget of what's in that email. You can do something as simple as screenshot it and go ahead and put it on your Instagram stories and say, hey, my favorite part of the newsletter this week, check it out here. People can be like, oh my gosh, look what I'm missing by not being on this email newsletter list. And that will entice them hopefully to sign up and subscribe that way. So think about the ways you can repurpose this and to entice people to realize what they're missing out on by not getting your weekly newsletter. Other things is making sure that you are not forgetting that engagement portion that we spoke to at the beginning and asking really fun icebreaker questions. Making sure you're thinking about the questions of what you ask people when you first meet them in real life. Again, taking the social aspects and social cues that you know how to do and that how you like to communicate in real life and taking them into your social media. Tell people about a time that you made a mistake and ask them what about a time they made one. People want to go ahead and communicate over these kind of embarrassing stories because, again, these shared embarrassing experiences humanize your brand and make it much more likely people will be more comfortable speaking with you. And when people are comfortable speaking with you, they'll ask you questions about your product or service. So allow people to become comfortable speaking with you. Tell people who inspires you and ask them who inspires them. This idea, especially right now, is that we're all coming together. We are all in this together right now is kind of the vibe that's that's going around in marketing and that's going around in the world. So take those inspirational ideas and go ahead and connect with people over them. Make sure that you ask really fun sort of questions like, who would you want to have dinner with if you could have dinner with anyone in the world? This allows you into the mindset of your ideal clients, and it's just a fun question for them to engage with. So all of these ideas are kind of a little bit more on the softer side, but I think Instagram stories are such a great place to be able to utilize this stuff. So really take these to heart and think about the ways that they can help bond your community together right now. If you do need more ideas on Instagram stories, like I said at the beginning, in the description of this video, there's an Instagram stories template. They have 13 Instagram template ideas that you can customize in order to go ahead and get them into your Instagram stories. Karen, it looks like you're asking a question about if you can schedule stories into Meet Edgar. Why, yes, you can. If you go to this article right here, I will go ahead and put it in the comments here, how to publish Instagram stories in Meet Edgar. This blog post will walk you right through it. So go ahead and give that a check out right there. And Edgar will be able to then go ahead and get those scheduled. And I love that you're asking this question specifically because, again, it goes back to that burnout idea. If you are someone who's aiming to do a story every single day that perhaps has like 5 to 7 frames, if you're doing that every day, you're going to burn out. But if you can batch your content stories and if you can load them into your Meet Edgar library and actually go ahead and have those scheduled out for the week, and Edgar will just give you that push notification on where to post them, you'll have a much better likelihood of staying consistent, having that great episodic content, and creating those great bonds with your followers. So give this video a like if you're going to jump into your Instagram stories today. Let me know what other questions you guys want answered. You know we're going live every single day on our channels just to create some fun community connection here. So I'd love to hear what else you want to learn and give me some story ideas, stuff like that. Go ahead and mention us in your stories at Meet Edgar, and we'd love to go ahead and join in and check them out. And I will be back tomorrow. Download that story template idea in the comments below, and I'm excited to be back chatting with you for Thursday. See you later, guys, and thanks so much for joining in.